All right, guys, we got a wild one. Did a worm eat a part of RFK Jr.'s brain? Apparently, the answer is yes. That sounds like there's no chance that that's true, but apparently, maybe it is. So, okay, so there's tons of caveats here, but it is a real story, which is already amazing. So RFK Jr. was going through a divorce proceeding, and he was in a deposition. Now, this is all the way back in 2012, and that he started saying that back in 2010, 2 years before the deposition, and obviously 14 years before today, he was experiencing memory loss and mental fogginess. Okay, all right, that's fine. And the context of this deposition is really important. Why he might have said this, and it gives you a sense of whether it might or might not be true. And then, has it hurt his presidential chances? We're going to talk about that too. So, um, he then says in the deposition that he went to a doctor, and the doctor thought that the abnormality on his scans was, quote, was caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died. Okay, so Bobby Kennedy Jr. did say that. That was in his deposition. So that part is clear. Now, whether that actually happened, I don't know. Okay. So why don't I know? Number one, he's in a divorce proceeding here. Now, as it turned out, tragically, his ex wife died before the divorce proceedings were over. But it's not germane to this story. But what is important is he might have been saying that to say, well, look, my earning potential is now lower because I'm having significant short-term memory loss and some long-term memory loss, and so golly gee, I can earn less. I wouldn't have gone in that direction if I was using an excuse, but okay, right? And if you're rooting for Bobby Kennedy Jr., then you got to be thinking, I hope he was making it up. I hope it was because he didn't want to pay more in the divorce. And is that possible? Of course it's possible. Let's keep it real. He's not going to say that. Nobody else is going to say that because everybody's against him. I'm going to explain that in a second, too. Now, there's more on this in a sec. But first, how is it affecting his chances? So I don't know if you guys have seen the live show. We do it Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/the Young Turks. But now in the beginning of the show, I tell you live from the Poly Market studio in LA, because we've got a new sponsor, Poly Market. And I love it because it's perfect for this type of thing. It's the world's largest prediction market. So I like looking at it to see, are my predictions right? I love predictions. So, but in this case, uh, recently I saw that he was at 4%. I think before that he was at 5% chances of winning the presidency, which is not that bad for a third party candidate. But now he's definitely at 4%. In terms of winning the popular vote, he's at 2%. All that makes sense to me. Actually, someone just went above him. So, obviously Trump and Biden are above him. Trump's at 47% the last time I checked. Biden is at 45% chance. And so Bobby Kennedy now is down to 4%. And the person above him is, I almost want you to go there to find out, but I won't tease you that much. Michelle Obama. What? Okay, so that's super interesting in and of itself. And he's dropped below Michelle Obama now. I don't know if it's definitely because of this news, but this news might have affected the markets. So if you want to go check that out, tyt.com/polymarket, give you a sense of what they do over there. And there's a link to, and I believe we're going to put up the chart to show you who's leading and who's not. And you could keep checking that, obviously, for Trump versus Biden, let alone this issue. And Wolf Dragon Donna, thank you for gifting a Young Turks membership. You guys are awesome. I love doing this show with you guys. Okay, so at the time, this is a quote from, I believe, the New York Times that was covering it. At the time, Mr. Kennedy was arguing that his earning power had been diminished by his cognitive struggles. So that gives you the motive for why he might have said that if it weren't true. But he wasn't done with worms. He also said in that same deposition, if there's a bag of worms in my chest, I can feel immediately when it goes out. Okay, I also don't know what that means. But look, people have different health struggles, etc. So now let's talk about how people are using this and why you're finding out about this in the first place. Well, when someone's got a 4% chance of winning the presidency, unless it's Michelle Obama. To be fair, she's not in the race. She's not, okay? That the press then does, more vetting of the candidate. So that's a fair reason why the New York Times might have gone in and done research and dug this up, because he didn't say it now, right? Whenever you see something that's been dug up, you have to ask, why did it get dug up? And there's a legitimate reason here. He's running for president. He's polling at 10, 15%, which is gigantic for a third party candidate. That's good enough reason to vet him. The second reason why that happens is because the other side start doing Oppo research. So a Trump team or a Biden team might have done Oppo research and found that and then leaked it to the New York Times. And oh my God, we have a source. And then they go and confirm it. They're not just taking Biden or Trump's word for it. And it is real in this case. But understand that when you see stories like that, that sometimes there's an agenda behind it, and it's their political opponents that are putting out that story all of a sudden out of nowhere. So the mainstream media loves this because they now think that RFK Jr. is going to cost Biden the election. That's a giant topic that I don't think there's enough information on. Everyone is positive whenever a new poll comes out and it turns out he's taking more from Trump or he's taking more from Biden. And whichever side you're biased on, you're like, oh my God, we got to drive him out of the race. He's the reason Biden's losing. He's the reason Trump's losing, whatever it might be, right? But the partisans are going to jump all over this. And of course they have. So Morning Joe, I'll be fair. I can't help but be fair. They had a decent joke about, well, he could have taken ivermectin for that, because ivermectin is actually to help with worms and parasites. So it would have been kind of perfect. I don't know that it would have helped in that particular case, but easy for the people. So Scarborough obviously is on Biden's side. MSNBC is on Biden's side. So they're going to have a field day with this. They're going to, look at this. But I get it. I get it. It's a funny, weird story, right? And so if you said that in a deposition and then you're running for president, it's going to come back and you're going to have to talk about it and you're going to have a good explanation. I don't know what his explanation is going to be. And I'm not on any of these sides. So, but my job is to give you the proper context and analysis. The proper context is this is definitely Oppo research, but he definitely did say it. Whether that's you really think it's caused memory loss and you think that's a real cognitive issue for him running for president, I'll leave that up to you guys. His communications director, of course, says, oh, he's way past it. He has no memory loss issues at all now. And besides which, divorce proceedings are settled. So we're all good with whatever that excuse was. Okay. Oh, by the way, Mohammed Albanai, you're amazing. Thank you for gifting 10 Young Turks memberships. My guess is that he did it for the divorce. I wouldn't have gone in that direction because I know that kind of stuff when you say it, especially when you're a public figure. And he was less of a public figure back then, but on the Kennedy name alone, you're always a bit of a public figure. That's always going to come back to haunt you if you say that worms ate part of your brain and then died. So I wouldn't have gone in that direction, but he did. It's real. It is what it is. Is it affecting how I would make a decision on which way to vote? I guess not, because if I'm being honest, I don't believe him that was true in the deposition. But there is one thing that does bother me that would affect me about this story is it's such a bad judgment call to say that you had a worm in your brain that ate part of it, whether it was true or untrue. Such a bad judgment to say that in a place where it's recorded and can come back to haunt you. That would affect me. That's a bad judgment call. And that's okay. So you take into account and then you see what you got. And obviously, I think he's got a lot of bad judgment calls. I don't agree with him on vaccines, on Gaza, etc. But the other day, he did a terrific speech on getting money out of politics and ending Citizens United. So, and Biden and Trump are not the greatest candidates in the world. So I'm still listening, and I just interviewed Jill Stein. I'm listening to everyone. We're going to interview Cornel West soon. We might interview Bobby Kennedy Jr. soon. So we're open-minded. At the end, I'll reach a conclusion based on all these factors. So is this determinative or definitive? No. Is it damaging to him? Of course, at least a little bit. And so how he deals with it, of course, is his issue. But he has dropped a little bit behind Michelle Obama now in the poly market tracking. So that's interesting. So if you want to check out more about that, tyt.com/polymarket, go check to see where things stand today and where they're going to stand tomorrow, because this is an enormously important election, and those prediction markets usually figure it out better than the polling, etc. I believe in both, but that's the reality. All right. Much love, guys. Remember to check out the show today, Monday. Tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, right here on youtube.com/The Turks. Much love. We'll see you there.